So, okay, I read those retweets and I thought, okay, number one, like I said, I don't understand having to label something with a race because, like I said, I think that labeling something white woman syndrome, um, it's really indicative of racial feelings to me, discriminatory racial feelings. Then I got to reading it and I was just like, are you serious? Someone who is against racism is or claims to be anti-racism is retweeting this stuff. I mean, uh, like I said in the beginning of the video, the state of race, the racial issue in this country is very complicated. Like I said, less complicated than it has been in the past, but still very complicated. But the one thing that is very simple about race as an issue is your beliefs of being against it. There is no argument. Okay, let me finish, first of all. Okay, so I replied and I was like, wow, that's very racist and discriminatory. And immediately I, was attacked, basically. I was even accused of using my white privilege uh, and using white girl tears. My responses to this situation, um, hold on, let me read you my Twitter. Basically, what I said was, oh yeah, I said, wow, that's horribly judgmental and racist. And I got the response that I got was, no, it's a hilarious social phenomenon, but you are free to weep about it, sweetheart. A very defensive remark, a very defensive reply. And um, I said, no one is weeping about it. I'm just pointing out your racism. And I got a reply basically saying that wasn't racist. And I said the second definition for racism, according to the Merriam-Webster dictionary, is as follows: racial prejudice or discrimination. Were your statements not discriminatory or racially prejudiced? I said if they weren't, by all means, pardon me. And then I viewed this person's Twitter, and of course, one of the first things I see is the use of the word whitey, which is an epithet. And I said, I said, upon viewing your Twitter, one of the first things I see is the use of an epithet, whitey. So once again, were your statements not prejudiced? Were they not discriminatory? And this person doesn't really answer me, but eventually sort of admits that they are discriminatory, or that they don't mind being called prejudice or discriminatory. Um, and I basically said, then you're a racist and I don't have anything else to say to you. And I said I had to unfollow some people. I don't think they realize just how hypocritical and downright stupid they are. I choose not to use the term ignorant because ignorance implies that someone can be taught. Unfortunately, some people can't be taught. And then, this is when I began to be accused of using my white privilege and white girl tears. And I'm like, okay, this is what I said. I said white privilege because I refuse to follow someone who claims to be against racism, but then turns around and uses racially discriminatory language. You realize that discrimination is just that, discrimination. It doesn't matter who you are doing it against, be them white, brown, or psychofuckandelic. I am very empathetic towards humanity and the human condition. I don't care how much or how little melanin is in someone's skin. I choose not to generalize a race of people because I have met 1 or 2 or 3,000 assholes who happen to share a skin tone, or because I've come across one dumbass white girl. or one Muslim who hates me for my nationality, or one black who is as slow as a turtle in the middle of the road with a widescreen. And if you do, that's your thing. If you want to say that I'm using quote unquote white privilege or quote unquote white girl tears because I choose not to be racially discriminatory and not to hate on other people because of their skin tone, then I am damn pleased with my white privilege and my white girl tears. Sorry, I am just not into racism. So after I made those statements, both of them continued to make statements about me. Basically saying that there's no, I think that one of them said there's no such thing as, you know, someone who is not racist. Everybody, is racist. Saying, one of them said, I also do not doubt that you wish to be free of racial bias. Basically implying that I do have racial bias inside of me. And that, to me, is just sort of them projecting their own insecurities onto me. They claim vehemently that they aren't racist, then make racially discriminatory statements, and when confronted by someone who truly does really, really, really abhor racism, they begin to say that I am the one with the racial bias, etc., etc., etc. Classic example of people projecting their insecurities onto someone else. I, in fact, rarely talk about race because it has no real place in my life. I don't discriminate based on people's skin tones. If I see it happening, I will fucking speak up. Uh, but in my own personal life, I don't discriminate against other people. I don't really get discriminated against. My best friend is a black girl. She even has a little black baby. Um, and even between she and I, race has just never been an issue. So it's not something that I go around screaming, I'm not racist, I'm not racist. I don't have to convince anyone. And it seems like these two people are trying so hard to convince me, as well as themselves, that they are not racist. And in doing so, to further convince themselves, they have to throw out accusations that I am racist based on the fact that I refuse to buy into quote unquote, academic arguments from quote unquote colored feminists. I don't give a fuck what color they are. I am not going to say it's okay to make racially discriminatory statements, regardless of who said them. I don't give a shit if it's Jack fucking Bauer or Chuck fucking Norris, and they can whoop my ass. If it's racist, it's racist. If it's discriminatory, it's discriminatory. Point blank. And I am not down with that. It's not something that I am going to make excuses for. I'm not going to make excuses for Savitri Devi, who was a white woman, a Hindu white woman, much like myself, who made racist statements. Regardless of what we have in common, the bitch was a racist. She claimed not to be. But ultimately, if you read her shit, she was. I'm not going to make excuses for it. And I think if you make excuses for racist and racist statements like these two girls have and are, then you are no better than them. Let me go on to part 3.